All right. Now, as far as Clash of Steel is concerned, there's one more thing that I've been thinking about that I don't know if anybody has touched upon in a video, so I will touch upon it now. On page 44 and 45 of every rulebook you have for Clash of Steel, there are command abilities for your command tank. These can give them special abilities or allow them the ability to influence usually one unit that's within their command radius. As far as this is concerned, this is something important. It does add to the point allotment required for reserves. I do not know if any of these do or do not stack with tactical cards, but I can generally guess that these do not stack with each other. This is a list of all of the command abilities by name, in order that they are in the book. They range from a point cost of 1 to 5, with most of them being about a 2 or a 3. Although the ones that are really going to catch your attention probably cost 4. I will not be giving the point values for each individual ability due to fairness. You can look in the rulebook and see the point values there. And it must be noted these command abilities kind of have little subcategories. This first category is pretty much things that upgrade your vehicle. The statistics change when you buy these abilities. They tend to be cheap, but they're not always. Secondly, there is a chunk of them that have the ability that the commander and a unit that is near them have the same ability as long as X is taken care of. So that's what that green section covers. There are only 2 abilities in the game that grant you abilities that cover your entire force, whether you do something or not. Route March allows you to have dash +4 to all your vehicles. That's really nice considering some of our vehicles are pretty slow. And then Teamwork allows for Blitz to be a 6-inch move instead of a 4-inch move. That actually does pair very well with some of these other abilities that allow Blitz to just kick off. There are other abilities that allow you to give special abilities to your commander that don't necessarily modify the stats on the sheet, and they don't help out any other units. They're just special abilities. And I have marked those in blue on this page. What force you play probably determines what command abilities you'll take. And what tank you have as your commander determines what you'll have as your command abilities. If you don't really care about being a badass hero, you might take a lesser tank and give them abilities that spread out to the rest of your nearby units. Or you might just pack on the badassery and go out and play hero with a souped up tank as your commander. Now, there are some things I have to look at. Some of these command abilities do not stack with each other. They obviously are upgrades to one another. That's what we have here, and I'm going to call them tier choice because the cheapest ones are obviously basic and you pay more to get more effect out of them. I am pretty sure these abilities don't stack, so taking both Number Cruncher and Problem Solver doesn't give you range +10. So the range modifiers, I'm going to just assume those don't stack, and if you want to pay more points and get a better version, you can. The same thing for the Blitz affecting special abilities. You can either make sure your commander has it, or with that beautiful location ability, your commander and a nearby unit can have 2+ on the Blitz rolls. That's not +2 Blitz, that is your Blitz rolls are 2+. There are plenty of abilities in this game that focus on re-rolling to hit. Typically, they come in 3 different flavors. One flavor which may stack with the others. You either are worried about hitting at 16 inches or more, or you're worrying about sitting still. Sitting still gives you the ability to re-roll your hits. There are 2 more that don't seem to stack with anything else. The inspiring one means if you destroy a tank, a unit within 6 inches can re-roll their hit, and you have prior experience. The flat ability that just gives your commander the ability to re-roll 1 dice that fails to hit. I'm pretty sure that you can stack some of these within reason. For example, let's say your commander is within 2 different units, one on one side that did not move, and one that is moving up on his flank on the other side. The commander can probably use Assault Gunner to give the non-moving unit to his one side the ability to reroll or 2 hits, but when the commander destroys an enemy tank, he'll then be able to kick in Inspiring, and that unit that moved is then able to reroll their 2 hits because their leader is within 6 inches of the commander. That'll probably work. Also, it must be noted, those force abilities that cover the entire force, the Route March and the Teamwork, those stack. One of them just affects dash move universally, and the other one modifies what blitz movement does universally. So there's no reason to not take both of those if you want to be super maneuverable. Let's talk about the individual forces. People are going to want to play Germans. And the funny thing about playing the Germans is they kind of really don't need the command abilities. although in some ways they do, depending how you build your force. The command abilities allow you to hedge your bets, and if you make a few mistakes in building your list because you want to have more fun, you can use the command abilities to get around that. For example, one of the best German combinations is just to do the combination of force abilities. Route march plus teamwork means your slow tanks are now faster on the dash, and your blitz move means a little bit more. And of course, with your 3+ and stormtroopers, you're going to be pulling off blitz more often than you think. Also, most of those unit affecting abilities really do help out the German forces. Just pick 2 of them. I have a whole battery there explained. You might as well pick non-conflicting abilities that allow you to reach out to units that are nearby and modify them. You won't want to take any that involve improving your blitz movement because you've already got a pretty good blitz movement as it is, but being able to reroll your remounts, have an additional extra move, rerolling to hit, and taking advantage of the fact that your German tanks really are good at destroying enemy tanks might be good choices. There's a few others here I have just as choices you might want to go for that'll help out in one reason or another, just making a good tank that's your commander better. Or you have the following. We have cheap point fillers. Oh, you only have a 98 or 99 point list? You have a 1 or 2 point ability here that can just beef up your forces. I've selected ones that really do help out the German list as opposed to ones that are kind of duplicative. We're going to have to talk about these command abilities and how they affect the Soviets because I really do think the Soviets kind of need to get at least one. The location ability allows you to have units within 6 inches of your commander and the commander roll their blitz rolls on 2+. This takes care of the fact that you have crap for skill. A 5+ skill isn't going to do much. Your only movement that you're going to be doing all the time is either a cross here movement order or a follow me movement order because none of the other ones make sense with your low skill rating. But some other ones I've thought of, Lend of Hand in combination with custom ammo helps out that you have lower anti-tank right now in the game, and with your average tank having a rate of fire of 1 when sitting still, having +1 stationary rate of fire is actually a pretty good combination. I also have a pick here, an optional pick, that if you wanted to improve your force maneuverability, doing either of those would work just fine. Combining location with either of those force-wide bonuses is probably a good idea. Do you want to dash more often? Do you really want to take advantage of those 2+ blitz rolls? Those will be the ones you pick. It's also a good idea to note that the assault gunner special ability is just plain good for the Soviets. They're usually slow firing, so it helps to sit still so you can fire your weapons without slow firing problems. Why not? Take the assault gunner ability. You exactly aren't compensating for your low rate of fire, but you're getting better 2-hit rolls if you fail any of them. The other combinations I have here are just ones that generally help out with the Soviets. They either make for a really good improvement on your tank's weaknesses, or it just allows you to take advantage of something that the Soviets may not have thought about. When it comes to the British and the United States, unless of course you're American and you're missing any kind of heavy armor except for the Doom Turtle, the Conqueror seems to be a really weak tank, but there are 2 abilities you can take in combinations to take care of that weakness of having to sit still with an expensive tank and roll 1 dice per tank. Then there's a very British ability you can combine. Since the British do usually have protected ammunition, combining that with Forged by Fire and the OAU there ability allows you to have more stretch amongst your forces, and you'll be able to make sure that if you do roll a 1 or a 2 to remount, you can take care of that problem. Also, the leadership radius stretching out means you'll have more of an ability to affect your ability to re-roll because they're next to their leaders. It doesn't hurt to take an ability that improves your armor rating, whether you're using it on a Tortoise or whether you're using it on the Conqueror. Having a stronger commander with thicker armor doesn't hurt the British at all, considering how small their units are. The Americans are actually more likely to just soup up their command tank and go dawdling around, although a lot of the tactics that apply to the Germans can doubly apply to the Americans. I picked a few here just because some of the things I've noticed in the American forces, like American forces based on the T-29, T-30, and T-28, will get fixed by some of these abilities. So you'll probably want to step in and think of something like this to help out your forces. I'm not saying that you have to use what I have here, but it's a pretty good idea, especially for playing Soviets, to think of how to use the command abilities to really get the most out of your force, instead of just having to deal with the tanks you were given. Thank you for watching this video, and may the dice roll ever in your favor.